The Lazy Money Machine podcast. Back with the baseline. Erik ten Haven on this side. On the other side, I have
Graham Brown.
Lazy Money Machine podcast, where we talk about everything and anything related to designing a lifestyle, to financial freedom, making money on properties. But to be very honest, our topics are quite broad, and what we're really trying to do in this podcast is also show a little bit about who we are, what keeps us busy, what we're worried about. And that brings us sometimes to finding people that have interesting things to say, and I've got one for you, Graham.
And how do you keep it up all the time? In other words, when you get on that stage...
Okay, so wait a minute. This is not you, Hefner, though, that we're talking about.
What keeps it going?
That's Larry King.
What really keeps it going is...
Yeah, that's Larry King. Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to let you know.
I know who's interviewing just from that fast 3 words as well. That is Mick Jagger.
Oh, cool. There we go.
Just for that voice.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's listen to him.
If the you feed from the audience and their enthusiasm, and if you have an enthusiastic audience, you feel that you can give more. It's like it's going back to the sporting metaphor. Any guy, once you feel you don't feel really, you feel like you have a bad day and you feel you got a bit of a cold, but as soon as you go out there.
They drive you,
and you usually don't have any problems.
But when you started, you didn't have the audience because you were new.
We had a little audience. When we started off playing, we used to playing, like everyone else. We used to play clubs. Small clubs, but we had a super enthusiastic club audience, and that that audience really taught us how to behave, how to have repartee with the audience and so on. Even from those early days, it's not really that different to the exchange that you get with a big audience.
So yeah, the title of this is How to Feed Off Your Audience. And you might think, what the hell does this have to do with lifestyle design, property investing? But it's something that can be translated in different ways. You could see your audience as, for instance, in our case for the book and for the tribe, the people that we're trying to serve and trying to help with building a lifestyle the way we have done it. But in a business situation, you could see it as your customers. And one thing that I remember from my last business that I ran in Indonesia is that every time I felt down and not felt too well, I went out and go and visit some of my customers or potential new customers. Because they are the one telling you what they want, right? They are the one helping you refine your product and how you're marketing it. And that's what, for instance, the way I'm doing it now is that I'm talking to people about my property business, both in the UK and in Indonesia, to get them enthusiastic and possibly for them to invest with me. But just speaking to them gives me feedback, right? If I speak to them, I learn, okay, how do I need to present myself? What makes it interesting to them? So audience, I think, is an important part of running a business. How do you look at your audiences, Graham? You've got some different audiences. You've got, different businesses, different audiences. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have, again, we talked about this in previous podcast episode. I'm talking about social media and Instagram. You have to have social feedback. You have to have social interaction. Even though you might like to think of yourself as a solopreneur or you work on your own, you still need human interaction. This is the challenge I think a lot of people in our position face because they work on their own and they're isolated in a way from the human feedback and how important that is, not just for learning, but as Mick Jagger says, for motivation. I think if you're to, your business in telecoms was value-added services businesses, right?
That's right.
You were selling content back in the old days across SMS, right?
Right, yeah.
So you could easily get detached from that, couldn't you? You could easily just say, well, it's just content and there's 1 million subscribers. These are just numbers. They're not people.
Right. To a certain extent, to be honest, that's what I was.
Right, so that's the challenge, isn't it? And you can have on the other side, which is like, I'm just starting out, I'm a solopreneur, I do website stuff and maybe design or sell stuff online. I don't talk to people. Mm-hmm. So you get detached in that way. So this is the challenge. It's like, how do you You know, and it's the same for me. It's like, you know, once I get out of that and I start talking to people, then the motivation changes and you learn and you get better.
Yeah. Important, I think, to be in touch with your audience. There was another part that I found from Jagger that sort of is a bit related to this.
I think the Stones are very lucky. Yeah, you always need a lot of luck. And I think they were in the right place at the right time. And we are, you know, quite, when we work very hard. So, and I think, so you need all those things. You know, it's no good just being hardworking. There's lots of people hard work. But you've got to be hardworking on your game and be lucky.
So, funny bit here is that luck, he acknowledges that luck is an important part of their success. It's so true. You know, I think, you know, yes, you got to know what your audience is. You got to be in touch with them. You can do everything right and still fail. And I've had that.
But isn't it a numbers game then? You know, like, okay, you just keep trying and, you know, eventually it will balance out. No, I don't know.
Well,
wouldn't that be the case? Like, okay, you can try. I mean, like the Stones, I mean, the Beatles were the same, right? I mean, everybody says, like, you know, the Beatles would never have been the Beatles if it wasn't for the assassination of John F. Kennedy, right?
Sure. Yeah.
The timing was perfect to go to America and cheer up America, right? And that just all kind of worked out nicely for their plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, you can't rely on those things because those things are unpredictable. But what you can do is just keep trying and keep in the game because eventually something will come along. Like you've got the door open and something's going to walk in that door.
Yeah. I mean, if I don't know exactly where I picked this up, but I really believe in this, that you gotta work on being prepared. So when the opportunity is there, you can take advantage of it. And sometimes the preparation is hard and boring, and nobody sees the result. You don't see the result. You don't make any money from the preparation. And to be honest, you know, a lot of the work that we're now putting together is preparation. I think the way that I see it, right? Learning to do online marketing, doing these podcasts, and you can see it, right? I mean, the more we do this, the easier it becomes, the better we get at it. And yes, this is not making us money, but it's fulfilling us. It gives us, a good practice to interview people, to teach people later on. And the preparation is so important. And if you keep working on being prepared and the opportunity, we don't know where the opportunity comes from, but I think luck is very often an opportunity that comes that you can grab because you're prepared.
Yeah. But was it, we talked about in the Eminem podcast about mastering your craft. Was that?
Yeah.
Eminem?
Yeah, Eminem had this box of notes, remember? He has a big box of notes that he keeps scribbling down, and he reuses it. He recycles his ammo, as he calls it, for his raps, for his new songs.
Right. So if you were to go back, you know, for us, the podcast is a way like mastering our craft. The Stones going out and playing the gigs in the tiny little pubs is going out and mastering the craft. You know, Eminem doing those MC battles where they have like MC versus MC type thing. I mean, he must have done thousands of those things.
Definitely,
right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, I mean, if you look at the modern stars, people like Ed Sheeran, who has played thousands of concerts to get where he's got to, right? I mean, he sort of burst into the scene, but people didn't realize he'd probably played like, I don't know, 1,000 gigs before he even got noticed, you know, on the mainstream media.
Yes.
So it's that whole, you know, you've got to go out there and master your craft, and you've got to do it in game time. I'm trying to think of the best way of describing this. It's like, you know, in front of real people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, you talk about going out there and, you know, going out in front of the audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, isn't that kind of what we're talking about? The real people who doing it live. Is that not what it is? You've got to practice your skill and hone it live.
Absolutely.
Is that not it?
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, it's the same with people that say like, I want to be a public speaker, or I want to do podcasting. I mean, it happens to me so often now that I talk to my friends and I look, I've got these 2 podcasts up and running. You should go and listen to them here. Listen to it, Bloom, and I play it to them. I said, oh, I wish I could do that. Well, the thing is, you know, go and do it. You know, it's you and you're very good at this, right? You always say, look, let's build something, let's get it out there, let's see, instead of trying to overthink and over prepare for things. I mean, by doing, you'll learn, and you'll find out it's not very complicated. I mean, there's a few puzzle pieces you need to put together, but it's not that difficult to do a podcast if you want to do a podcast, but it is difficult to switch your mind and your mindset to go and do it. Because it's always easier to have an excuse. I need to buy audio equipment, or I don't know anything about audio, or I don't know anything about recording, or I don't know how to upload this. Well, wake up call. There's Google, right? You can Google this stuff. It's, if you Google how to make a podcast, your first 2 links will tell you how to record it, how to publish it. Everything is there. So by doing, as you say, by being in front of an audience also, doing it live, getting feedback, getting people tell you that they like it or that they don't like it is real good feedback. And if you don't go live, you will never know that.
Yeah, that applies to everything, doesn't it? And property investing is the same.
Yeah.
You can't learn property investing beyond the point until you start buying. Because, until that point, you're really just a tourist, right?
Right.
And after that point, there's a whole difference in mindset when you actually have money invested in something, right? And your money's on the line because you think differently about stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with you. So, lesson from Mick Jagger. Get in front of your audience. Work hard.
Move like Jagger.
Yeah, move like Jagger. Work hard. Work on your craft. Get in front of your audience. And then you need a bit of luck on top of it.
Exactly. And you do all that, and you could be in your 70s and, be dating some 20-year-old model or worth several $100 million, whatever it is. Just look at him. He's got, come on, he's 73 or 74 or whatever, and he's just had a baby.
Yeah. Well, that's rock and roll, Graham. Come on.
Rock and roll, man.
That's not for us, man. We're tech guys.
We're too young.
We're too young. We need to wait until I'm 70, but I don't think I'll have a 20-year-old model by then. And definitely no small kids anymore.